Okay, we're now live on YouTube. Today, for the record, today is November 9th, 2022. This is the 8:30 a.m. Preliminary hearing calendar. My name is Brad Gardner. I'm going to be the presiding judge over this calendar. When I call the case, you hear your client's name called, please make the appropriate announcement. Position 1, State of Georgia versus Marcus Alexander Henderson.
That'll be a consent bond this morning.
Position number 5, State of Georgia versus Joshua Patrick Anthony.
State's ready.
It looks like it'll be a waiver. I just need to kind of firm up exactly what type the state.
Okay, so do you need to speak to Ms. Freeman or you need to speak to your client?
Yes, sir. All of my pretty much be contingent on speaking with Ms. Freeman this morning.
Okay. Position number 7, State of Georgia versus Robin Bailey.
State's ready.
Good morning, Your Honor. Tiffany Pleasant for Miss Bailey. I need to pre-try that with my client.
Good morning, Ms. Pleasant. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you, Judge. How are you?
I'm doing well.
And Judge, I will say, so we received a revised calendar. I don't know what happened or why, but there were some cases that were initially on today's calendar that were removed.
Mm-hmm.
And Judge, I don't see the jail on.
I thought I saw the jail in the beginning.
Okay, there you are, main court hold. Okay. And so Bailey is one of the defendants that for some reason was not on the revised calendar. And so I'm not sure if the jail has Bailey or not, but Bailey was not on the, was on the original calendar, but not, yeah. So I see Miss Fowler shaking her head.
No, she doesn't.
She doesn't have Bailey. And that, like I said, I don't know what happened or why it happened, but there were cases taken off of today's calendar at the last minute and placed on, I believe, November 16th. So I don't know why.
Okay, we'll need to address that. I'm gonna put an asterisk next to this because I saw like a draft calendar and then I saw a finalized calendar, and the finalized calendar was had, I guess, maybe 20-some pages less than the draft.
Right. So what I'll do is if you call cases, I'll try to catch it and let you know if it's not on the revised calendar.
Okay, because I didn't review the draft calendar. I only reviewed the final calendar.
Well, there was a final calendar, but since the final calendar, it was revised again.
Yes, Judge, and if I may, it was revised. I think the previous JA, when they had first appearance, they were still using the same prelim dates. And, you know, with the prelim dates, you have to put them like 2 weeks out. So I think what she did is she moved those, all of those people that was on that prelim calendar.
No, you tripping.
Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, she removed those people that was on the calendar that actually they shouldn't have been. They should have been on next week's calendar because of when they did first appearance, they used the same prelim date as the previous first appearance, and it shouldn't have been that way. So the previous JA went in and cleaned it up and moved those people to that calendar, which is the 16th.
Okay, and that's that. And go ahead, Miss Wesley.
Yeah, and I was just saying, and that's how it ended up being unupdated, because I had already finished the calendar, the draft and the final calendar. But then Judge Parker, which was on first appearance, he used the same prelim dates that we had from the previous week, which it changes whenever we have the prelim that week, it changes like 2 weeks out. So
And
it was actually some people that had first appearance, and then the next week they had prelims, and that wasn't the way that it's supposed to have done. So she went in and took a lot of those people off.
And Miss Freeman, Miss Wesley did have that conversation with me, because that was when I saw the draft calendar, and I know that I was doing first appearance and I was putting people on for my week of preliminary hearing.
Mhm.
And we had a relatively light week. And that was something that stood out to me as to why there's so many people on this preliminary hearing calendar, when I know that it wasn't that many people through
Right.
first appearance.
Right. Well, we'll still try to, adjust, and there may be some cases that that we'll be able to work out. But I just want the court to know that,
Yes.
so because they changed the calendar after the deadline. So
Yeah, and I'll tell you, and Miss Wesley, she'll back me up. I always say it's not whether there's going to be a problem, it's what the problem is going to be. So
right.
we have, yeah, we've identified a problem, and we can work around it.
Right.
Okay, position number 8, State of Georgia versus Kyrie Banks.
The state's ready.
Looks to be a bond waiver, just need to tighten up the number on it.
Okay. Mr. Rogers, you always speaking, it's like you're playing jazz and I'm trying to listen to classical music. The words that you say. So I always have to try to understand. It may be a bond waiver, but you need to speak to your client, or you need to speak.
I was going to take that as a compliment, Shauna.
Yes, sir.
And the other thing I'll say about it is, I think Miles Davis said it's about the notes that you don't play. So that's exactly what's going on. But long story short, I'm gonna need to talk to Ms. Freeman, because, like I said, I think we're gonna be able to get to a bond, but it's more about the numbers. Sometimes she needs a little bit more information so that she can make a more just decision on the cases. And I know sometimes she just needs a little more info. That's all. A little bit more light, you can see things a little better. That's all.
Okay, I'll accept that. And I respect you all and the work that you do and the intelligence and what you bring here. I'm just a person that I need to know just the basics so that I can hopefully, I'm gonna make a mistake, but it can cut down on the mistakes that I make. Position 9, State of Georgia versus Aaron Bell.
Just you said Aaron Bell?
Yes.
And that's Aaron Bell was one of the cases that was taken off the calendar.
Okay. And I'm putting an asterisk by those cases so that I know that they'll be moved over to, I think, the 16th. Position 11, State of Georgia versus Eddie Bell.
That was the consent bond done yesterday.
Thank you. We have position 14, State of Georgia versus Aaron Bell III.
I only showed one Aaron Bell, and that's the one that was removed off of the calendar.
And yeah, and I will say it was one of the ones that I'll be handling. I was under the impression that it was all one and the same too from when I looked it up and everything. So
Okay, and I'm looking at the warrant numbers, and they're in sequential order. So it appears maybe Mr. Bell had positions 9 and 10, and then 5, 5, 8, 5, 9, and then position 14 ends in 6-0, and position 15 is 6-1. So I'm going to make the leap that they are the same individuals. Position 16, State of Georgia versus Joel Bender.
Judge, that's another case that was removed from the calendar.
Okay.
It was removed from the calendar, but Ms. Freeman, if you want to go ahead and resolve that one, it can be a drug court waiver.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, if y'all reach an agreement, I always got the blue pen ready to go.
That's fine.
Position 23, State of Georgia versus Jason Boyd.
Judge, that's another case that was removed from the calendar.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that you, Miss Pleasant?
It is, Judge. It was going to be a hearing this morning, but obviously not.
Okay, position 28, State of Georgia versus LaPierce Carter.
Same announcement, that was taken off the calendar.
Okay. Position 33, State of Georgia versus Susan Crankshaw.
The state's ready. And Judge, also with that particular case and looking at the way that it was, the warrant was done, is charged as the third DUI, which is a misdemeanor. So I believe it should be placed on a misdemeanor calendar, not the felony calendar.
I thought the third makes it a felony. The first and second are misdemeanors.
It's a aggravated misdemeanor,
Mm-hmm.
as far as I looked up as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, code says, yeah, the
Okay.
third one, it becomes an aggravated misdemeanor, and then the fourth one, it'll become a felony.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I charged I set bond for Miss Crankshaw as what I would normally set for a first DUI, and Miss Hill, she at least at the bond hearing, she was really asking for help. I mean, asking to be placed in a program somewhere, and she's an elderly lady, and I think her husband died, and that's when she got into this, at least what she reported. So I don't believe this is a lady that should be sitting in jail. But I mean, she asked for help, and I think we should be able to offer her.
And what
Judge,
Judge-
I'll send an email to the solicitor's office. Judge Spencer has a DUI court. Maybe she can be considered for that program.
Yeah, because she with her age, number one, and with just what she was saying at the first appearance. I mean, it's 2 weeks later, and I still remember this. So she had an impact on me, and I think she's someone that needs help.
And Judge, just so she doesn't get lost, if Ms. Wesley can make sure she places her on a misdemeanor preliminary hearing calendar, and then in the meantime, like Attorney Pleasant said, she'll send an email to the solicitor's office that she may qualify for DUI court.
Miss
Ma'am,
Wesley,
I'm on it now. I'm on it
Oh.
now.
okay, put her on next week's calendar, because I really was hoping that she would be able to bond out, but it appears that that she has not.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. I mean, we're not here to. Well, I'm not here to punish people unnecessarily. Position.
I'm sorry, Judge. I'll place her on the 15th.
Okay, thank you, Ms.
Mhm.
Wesley. Position number 36. Looks like Adrian Nikisha Marielle Fonzo.
That was a
David.
bond, that was a bond previously done.
Okay. Position 37, State of Georgia versus Julian Dyer.
That was the case removed off the calendar.
Okay. Position 43, State of Georgia versus Robert Eggleston.
Same announcement, that case was removed off the calendar.
Okay. Position 44, State of Georgia versus Charles Fuller.
That was a bond previously done.
Thank you. Position 50, State of Georgia versus Rachel Gassaway.
That was the case removed off the calendar.
Okay. Position 54, State of Georgia versus DeMarcus Gray.
The state's ready.
Attorney Hill for Mr. Gray. I need to pre-try that with Ms. Freeman.
Okay. Position 63, State of Georgia versus Cynthia Hurd.
The state's ready.
It appears that Ms. Hurd has bonded out.
Okay. Position 66, State of Georgia versus Carl Hesterly.
That case was removed from the calendar.
Okay. Position 68, State of Georgia versus Cortez Hood.
That defendant's out on bond.
Okay. Position 69, State of Georgia versus Hugh Jackson.
That's a misdemeanor, Judge. And that case should be placed on a misdemeanor calendar. The only charge was criminal trespass.
Miss Wesley, would you please place Mr. Hugh Jackson on next week's misdemeanor calendar?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Position 70, State of Georgia versus Jacavius Jarrett.
The defendant's out on bond.
Okay. Position 72, State of Georgia versus Kendall Johnson.
The consent bond previously done.
Okay. Position 73, State of Georgia versus Ricardo Johnson.
Judge, that was a bond that was already done, and I believe that case was already presented to grand jury as well.
Okay. Position 76, State of Georgia versus Michael Kasajewicz.
The state's ready.
Your Honor, it's Zekowicz. And I am going to pre-try that case with Ms. Freeman, please.
Okay. He told me how to pronounce his name, but I forgot. I think he has two other warrants out for his arrest out in the Midwest. State of Georgia versus Joshua Lott.
That defendant was removed off the calendar.
Okay. State of Georgia versus Jabarius McCrary.
That was a consent bond previously done.
Okay. Position 92, State of Georgia versus Charles McNeil.
The state's ready.
That's my case, Sean. I need to confirm that it'll be a bond with my client this morning.
Okay, so you want to pre-try with your client?
Yes, sir.
Position 99, State of Georgia versus Jamarian Muse.
The state's
Good morning.
ready.
Morning, Your Honor. Your trophy Robinson here for Mr. Muse. The defense is also ready. They'll be hearing this morning.
Okay.
Your Honor, this is Attorney Chris Tolles. I was appointed to Mr. Muse, but him having hired a private attorney, I was going to ask to be excused.
Yes, sir. Is that
Morning,
your
Can I
only
get the name of
case?
yeah, that was my only case. Can I get the name of the attorney so I can let GPD know?
Trophy Robin.
Eutropia Robinson. UTROPHIA Robinson. ROBINSON.
Remember that first name, but I remember the last.
All right.
Thank you, Judge. All right.
Thank you. You're free to go, Mr. Toles.
Thank you.
And Ms. Robinson, looks like you'll be our first hearing.
All right.
Position 102, State of Georgia versus Philip Wynn.
That was
Which
a misdemeanor.
misdemeanor, right?
Yes.
He's out the bond too.
Yes, and I think he,
I know that.
Mr. Hibachi reached a agreement with the state to have a bond on that case. So he should be out the bond. Position 103, State of Georgia versus Manuel Christopher Nev S. Neal. And I
Right, that
apologize.
case, right, that case was removed off the calendar. That's a co-defendant to Gasaway.
Okay. Position 107, State of Georgia versus Quentin Pinkston.
State's ready.
Okay.
That's gonna be a hearing.
Okay. All right. Position 114, State of Georgia versus Trini Prince.
State's ready.
Yeah, and I need to pre-try that case with my client.
Okay. Position 116, State of Georgia versus DeMarcio Purcell.
That was removed off the calendar.
Okay. Position 120, State of Georgia versus Lucy Shetterly.
That case was removed off the calendar.
Okay. Position 123, State of Georgia versus, is it Toussaint Smith?
State's ready.
And yeah, I guess I need to speak with Mr. Smith. He was telling me he was gonna look into hiring an attorney, so I need to, I guess, confirm and see whether or not that happened.
Okay. Position 133, State of Georgia versus Tanika Spence.
That case was removed off the calendar.
She was also released as well.
Okay.
Okay. Position 134, State of Georgia versus Zachary Sprague.
That defendant was removed off the calendar.
Okay. Position 136, State of Georgia versus D'Angelo Stewart.
The state's ready.
And I'm not showing a lawyer listed for Mr. Stewart.
Yeah, when I spoke to him, but he told me he hired an attorney, but said the first name was Jerome, but he didn't know, he couldn't recall the last name.
Said the first name was what, Mr. Rogers?
Jerome.
Oh. Okay. We'll bring up Mr. Stewart and I'll try to get an understanding after the call of the calendar as to who he may have. So at the jail, would you just have Mr. D'Angelo Stewart close by? So when I finish the call of the calendar, we can ask him about whether he has a lawyer.
Thank you, Judge.
Yes,
And Officer Angelus is on, you can be excused. That defendant is not on the calendar and has been released.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that was, and Ms. Freeman, that was going to be one of the things that I was going to say at the end. But if you see any of your officers or any officer that's here that they can be released, just let me know. I mean,
I will.
And we'll not burden them.
All right, thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Position 142, State of Georgia versus Dominique Stroy.
State's ready.
No, I turned it that part.
Your Honor, if I may, on position 99, Mr. Muse, I know you said that we'll be first out. I'm actually sitting in the parking lot of the courthouse because I didn't get the link until this morning. My office is less than 10 minutes away. Would it be okay if I just go ahead and drive there now so that I don't have to sit in the car for this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm gonna remain on because I'm mobile.
No, and it's fine, Miss Robinson. You're not under any pressure or any stress. We're gonna get through this day.
Oh yeah, I just would like to sit a little bit more comfortably and not in my back seat.
No, and that's what I'm saying is I'm okay with you taking that approach. That's a reasonable request.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. So did we get an announcement on Dominique Stroy from the defense?
No, Judge, the state's ready. I'm not sure who's representing Dominique Stroy.
Attorney Schoolcraft was assigned to that case.
Okay. You're muted, Mr. Schoolcraft.
I did not have that on my list for today. I can check with the folks in Atlanta.
Okay. I'm gonna put you down as representing Ms. Stroy with a question mark.
Could you spell her name, Judge?
Well, it's THOMANIQUE. Middle name Deshawn, DESHAWN. Last name Stroy, STROY. Charged in warrant number 2022 WA 15742 with committing the offense of aggravated assault. 15743 committing the offense of aggravated assault, and 15744 with committing the offense of criminal trespass.
I will check, Judge.
Okay, thank you. Position 145, State of Georgia versus David Swan.
State's ready.
Judge, I just need to have a brief pretrial with my client, and then depending on the results of that, I would need a pretrial with the court and with Ms. Freeman.
Okay.
Judge, Your Honor, this is the jail
Yes, ma'am.
for inmate Swan. He is in medical and he is not allowed to come out of medical. He is confined to medical.
Okay. And without being too specific, is this based upon some kind of communicable illness?
Yes, sir. When the deputies went to go and get him, they said he cannot be released. He is in confined.
Okay. All right.
I
So
guess I would
I
ask
think,
that that continue, Judge.
yeah, we're gonna have to continue that. If he can't come out. Miss Wesley,
Yes, sir.
would you continue Mr. David Swan to next week?
Judge, can we
Yes,
do-
I'm
are we
sorry.
are we just doing the 1 week? Because we know a lot of cases that were taken off of this calendar were placed on the 16th. And we're already now, we've already essentially completed the 14th. The next date that we were doing from Monday was the 21st. But with the cases today, I would ask that we place them on the 28th. Since there won't be court on the 23rd.
I understand. Let's move it to the 28th.
Okay.
Miss Wesley.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
Judge, may I be excused for a few minutes, see if I can find out about this other lady?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Position 146, State of Georgia versus Damian Talbert.
State's ready.
Attorney Hill for Mr. Talbert. I'd like to pre-try that with ADA Freeman.
Okay. Position 150, State of Georgia versus Enrico Thomas.
That was a consent bond previously done.
Okay. Position 155, State of Georgia versus Kentrell Turner.
That defendant was removed from the calendar.
Okay. Position 157, State of Georgia versus Ricardo Webb.
That was a consent bond previously done.
Okay. Position 160, State of Georgia versus Michael Wells.
That was a consent bond previously done.
Okay. Position 164, State of Georgia versus Zakir Whitaker.
That defendant was removed from the calendar.
Okay. Position 166, State of Georgia versus Timothy White.
The state's ready.
Attorney Hill for Mr. White. I'd like to pre-try that with ADA Freeman too.
Okay. Position 172, State of Georgia versus Alan Scott Williamson Jr.
That was a fast track previously done.
Okay. Position 173, State of Georgia versus Quavo Wimber.
The state's ready.
Looks to be a bond waiver, just need a pre-trial with the client.
Okay. So that appears to be the end of my calendar. Is any cases that anyone expected to be called that were not called?